What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to VV Investments. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing Unreal Engine 5. So it's apparently been leaked by the team, Dan, which is a little bit of a surprise because normally it's David. But the VEVEVERSE is apparently going to be built using Unreal Engine 5. However, Unreal Engine 5 is not going to be the only engine building the platform. It is going to be agnostic, meaning multiple platforms are going to be interoperable with the VEVEVERSE, which is very bullish news. So in this video, we're going to go over some examples of games and movies that have actually been developed using Unreal Engine 5, and then we're going to round the video off with my overall thoughts. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you guys want to see in future episodes. And without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright, so first example I want to go over, if you guys did not know about this, you haven't heard about it, or you forgot about it, it was earlier this year that a fan actually decided to make a modern superhero game using Unreal Engine 5. In this case, he decided to use Superman, and in the description of the video, he actually wrote that with the release of Unreal Engine 5, and after being inspired by some amazing videos floating around, he decided to revisit his own Superman demo from last year and move it into Unreal Engine 5. He said that this project was built simply as a test for what a future superhero game like Superman might be like in a large-scale modern city running on Unreal Engine 5. So let's toss some video up on screen and take a look at what it looks like. Alrighty, so not only is this a good example because the character himself is Superman, and we got that on VV already, but in my opinion, this is also unbelievable because it's been developed by a single individual, to my knowledge at least. And it goes to show exactly what can be done with a piece like Superman on VV within the VEVEVERSE. Now next up, I made sure to include an upcoming Hulk game that's actually going to be dropping from Marvel. Now of course, Marvel's going to be one of the bigger partners that works very, very closely with VV on the app right now. So I'm always very intrigued to see things that Marvel drops as well. It can certainly give us an idea what they can do with our collectibles down the line. Check it out. Next up is going to be The Matrix Awakens. So again, this was released earlier this year, and it was actually a trailer to promote their updated version of Unreal Engine, that being Unreal Engine 5. I remember when this came out, I watched it for the first time, and I actually got confused between what was real and what wasn't. And I remember watching some of the reactions on YouTube that were posted, and people were just blown away. So to give some context for those who have not seen it yet, let's toss some video up and check it out.
Hi, I'm Thomas Anderson. Like many of you, I work with computers. I like the freedom I feel outside the limitations of the real world. But computers are also mirrors, reflecting back who and what we are and the choices we make, the worlds we build. They also confront us with questions about why we want to choose this over that. Why we want to make X instead of Y. Where do ideas of who we are and what we want even come from?
You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This isn't real.
What is real?
How do you define real?
For instance, I'm not even sure why I'm here. I remember waking up and thinking that I'm supposed to come here. That it was important for me to ask people, how do we know what is real? Hi, I'm Keanu Reeves. Over 20 years ago, I first played the character Thomas Anderson in the Matrix trilogy. Those films pioneered digital cinema with shots like bullet time. Back then, we talked a lot about where the digital age might take cinema and narrative. In an industry where actors have tried to remain perpetually young, we wondered about digital faces that could become immortal.
Hi, I'm Carrie Ann Moss, and I played Trinity in the Matrix films. 20 years ago, we asked ourselves how long it would be before faces and bodies could be changed as easily as we change clothes.
We wondered, what would identity mean in a completely digital world?
And what would reality mean when a world we can build feels as real as our own?
What just happened?
Yeah, this is what they wanted. They said they were fine with your theoretical mumbo-jumbo, but they needed some sexy action.
Who said?
The marketing people.
Marketing? I thought we were supposed to have total creative control.
Welcome to the Matrix.
You still got it.
Like riding a bike, they say.
I sometimes miss this version of us.
Me too.
The hell are you doing back there?
Sorry, I was told this is a sim preparing me to fight the system.
Right on.
Unbelievable, right? It certainly blew me away when I first saw it. But I think one of the best things that is demonstrated within this trailer that Unreal Engine 5 allows game developers to do is to implement these realistic physics. So I'm not sure if you guys were paying attention to the way the vehicles were actually crashing. Something hits the vehicle, throws the physics and the mechanics of that vehicle off. Then all of a sudden that vehicle runs in and hits something else, and the physics in the simulation change again. And speaking of simulation, guys, that's exactly how this stuff is kind of built in the back end. And I'll preface this by saying I am not a game developer, but I do have a bit of an idea of how it works. So for example, let's take the car crashing like we were just talking about. What they'll essentially do is they don't have to place every little piece of debris around that car as it's crashing. What they'll do is they'll run what's called a simulation where they'll draw the line of where they want the car to go. And then based off the parameters they've set within that simulation, as they set that simulation live and the car kind of follows that line, the environment or the surrounding environment will react accordingly. And this is highlighted so well within this trailer. The physics and the mechanics behind how the cars are crashing is unbelievable in my opinion. And of course, on top of other things like their graphics with their human avatars and things like that, the Keanu Reeves. But Matrix Awakens, another fantastic example of what can be done using Unreal Engine 5. Next up, we got Fortnite. The reason I included this, guys, is because Fortnite does use Unreal Engine, but they offer a whole different feel. So the first two examples that we just walked through were focused more on realism, whereas Fortnite has more of that, you know, cartoony kind of feel, whatever you want to call it. Now, this game certainly took the world by storm several years back, so I'm sure everybody watching this video has seen videos of Fortnite, or at least know what it is. But for those who do not, let's toss some video up on screen. Let's check it out. Alright, so I've only played this game like a handful of times. I would just get wrecked by a bunch of little kids. So frustrating. But there's one specific thing I really want to emphasize here, guys, and that's the fact that Fortnite provides a very, very different feel, but still using the exact same tool that the other two examples use. So the overall product of a game, or the final result, whatever you want to call it, it can look very, very different despite using the same software. What it comes down to is what the company behind the product wants to achieve. The look, the feel, the experience, how it plays, etc., etc. So we got some other games and movies that have used the Unreal Engine software. We got Street Fighter V, the newest one. We have Sea of Thieves. So for anybody who does not know this game, any Pirates of the Caribbean fans out there, highly recommend it. Super fun. But the reason I actually included this on the list is because for anyone familiar with animation understands how difficult water is to animate. And Sea of Thieves is a pirate game. You're literally sailing on the water. And it's a great example of what can be done with water using this software. Next, we got HBO's Westworld. We're going to have Disney's Mandalorian. So some of the effects they were actually able to achieve in this TV series was achieved through Unreal Engine. And then I've also provided some additional examples linked in the description, guys, specifically 6 short films, all very, very high quality. So the first one is going to be Life is a Rally. The second one is going to be called Pit, which is like a little film that follows a robot that explores the ruins of Earth. It actually has multiple awards. Third one's going to be a Meerkat short film. Fourth is going to be a short film titled Hello World, and that's going to be one that really puts an emphasis on what the software can do with their metahuman avatar builder. The fifth is going to be called Terra, and that's going to be a short film that shows you the possibilities of what Unreal Engine can do with rendering different environments. And then the last is going to be called The Gateway. So if you guys have some time, make sure to check those out. I would highly recommend it. All 6 of those films are truly going to capture what a tool like Unreal Engine can do for VV. And last but not least, guys, let's round it off with my thoughts. What do I think about Unreal Engine 5? Well, to make a longer story short, I think this is very bullish news. I think Unreal Engine 5 has endless possibilities. I feel like the things that you can achieve, and I guess more importantly in this case, the VV team can achieve, are just nuts. The capabilities are endless. But what people really, really need to understand here, and I need to put an emphasis on this because this is important, none of this matters if VV has not hired top-tier developers that can actually capitalize on the opportunities that the software provide. Meaning, you ever heard somebody say, you know, Tom Brady would have never been Tom Brady if he never picked up a football? And you can apply that exact same example to the developers that VV have hired. If these developers don't even have the skills to be able to use the engine properly or to its full capabilities, well then the VEVEVERSE is only going to be as good as the people who build it. So at the end of the day, what it comes down to is VV's ability to hire the right people and delegate the right people to the right jobs. And for me, there's a big gray area here because the only real things I can compare this to are 3 things. 1, the VV app, 2, the web app, and then 3, the little example of the virtual space that they built for Comic-Con last year that ended up, you know, flopping. So if you focus on the 3rd example, right, go back last year to that little virtual space they built for Comic-Con. I would not expect them to be leaps and bounds ahead of that only a year later. But keeping in mind there are a couple variables there, right? Like they may have only worked on that space far less than they have on the actual VEVEVERSE. They may have started the VEVEVERSE way sooner than they did for that space with Comic-Con. Bunch of question marks there. But then we can go over to the mobile app and the web app. It's undeniable that there's multiple things that need work on both of those, and the team has acknowledged this. The mobile app needs a lot of work, specifically the social feed, but then also the search bar and other little features like that. The web app is where I have a little bit more to talk about. And this is where I have a little bit of concern, because the web app has been out long enough, more than enough time in my opinion, for the team to have at least been able to provide some sort of update or upgrade to the platform. And as far as I'm aware, they still have yet to do something like that. So in my opinion, these three things are the only things we can really look at right now prior to their unveil at DCon of the VEVEVERSE, both past and present, that give us somewhat of an idea of Vive's capabilities. I am a little concerned that perhaps expectations are a little too high for the VEVEVERSE that's going to be unveiled in a month from now. And at the end of the day, that's just another pattern. It's another repeat of, people hyping up Pokemon thinking it's the P word, or the D word is going to be Dragon Ball Z, or things like that. My expectations for the VEVEVERSE are going to be something similar to that of Fortnite. I'm not talking quality, but I'm talking feel. I think if you were to plop the digital collectibles on VeVe into a world that we saw where Superman was flying around, or a world like the Matrix that has a realism focus behind them, I do not think that VeVe's avatars would necessarily fit too well. I think the environment would look too realistic, whereas the digital collectibles would look more cartoony. I think, however, if you were to plop them into an environment like Fortnite and look like they're in their place a little bit better, maybe that's just my opinion, I don't know. Comment your thoughts down below, but I could be completely wrong here. And to an extent, I hope I am, right? Like, I hope the VEVEVERSE just blows people's minds away. But at the same time, I don't want to get too ahead of myself and get my expectations too high. I think we have to consider the fact that the first iteration of the VEVEVERSE that they are going to unveil is literally going to be stage 1. And from there, they're going to build it further and further and further. So as investors and collectors who have gotten in on this platform early, who have to accept that there are going to be more hurdles, more struggles, more obstacles for us to overcome early on, this is just another one of those things that we have to consider. All in all, guys, that's going to conclude episode 16. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe down below. Make sure to comment what you guys want to see in future episodes. And as for episode 17, we'll see you on Thursday.